Today is Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. My name is Edna Sussman. I'm a reference librarian here at the Half Hollow Hills Community Library in Dix Hills, New York. We're interviewing Eduardo A. Cuello, a Marine Corps veteran of Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan and Kosovo, as part of our Veterans Testimonial Project and in collaboration with the Library of Congress's Veterans History Project. Thank you so much, Eddie, for your service and for participating in our project today.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Eddie, where and when were you born?
I was born on December 8th, 1979 in Dominican Republic.
And who were your parents, their names, and what did they do?
My father's name is Tony Cuello. My mother's name is Aurora Diech. My father is currently working as a sales manager for a Fortune 500 company which distributes wine and liquor.
Wow.
And he's been doing that for, I think, 25 years.
Really?
Yeah. My mother works in human resources for a bunch of different companies, banks, and a pasta mill, and now she's retired.
Nice. Do you have any siblings? Or what are their names and genders?
I have. Sure. I have one brother with my original parents, my parents. His name is Ricky Cuello. And then I have two stepbrothers with my father. My father remarried.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And did any of them serve in the military?
No, I was the only one.
Oh, okay. Now, what were you doing before you entered the service?
I was in high school.
Wow.
I signed up for the Marine Corps at the age of 17. I was so young I had to get my parents to sign for me.
Why did you want to do that?
It just seemed like the right thing to do at the time.
Huh. What year was it?
It was 1997.
Okay.
Yeah, I signed up at 97, but I didn't end up shipping off to boot camp until January of 98.
Okay, so obviously they signed off on it. Were they okay with this?
My mother was not. She was crying. My father, I was a knucklehead. Just like a lot of young men who are kind of lost and maybe still in high school, maybe right after high school. A bunch of my friends were going off to college. I grew up in Queens, so a bunch of them signed up to go to school in Albany.
Oh.
Mainly because it was known as a party school.
College, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it didn't interest me. I didn't really care to go off to college and do the traditional path that most people do. And I didn't really know what to do at the time. And another one of my friends who everyone thought would end up becoming like a doctor or a physicist or something like that, instead of going off to college, he said he was going to sign up for the Marines and join the Marine Corps. Huh. And he was smaller than me and kind of like the one person in the group that everybody picked on. And I guess he did it to kind of show everybody up and to prove everybody wrong. And he inspired me.
Really?
Yeah, he inspired me for sure. So he signed up for the Marines, and I looked at him and I said, you know what? I'm going to do it too.
Wow.
Didn't really give him much thought. Just kind of said, I'll do it too. Why not?
You were in the same grade in school?
Yes, we were in the same class. We met in junior high school.
Did you finish high school?
Yes.
You did? Okay.
You had to for the Marines.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I don't know how it is now, but at the time, the Marines was the only one that required a high school diploma. Everybody else, in the Army and the Navy, you can drop out and get a GED. I finished high school.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. So, what made you pick the Marines?
Again, because my friend,
okay.
my friend was doing it, and everybody knows the Marines to be the toughest and the hardest boot camp, the longest boot camp, and they only they're known as the few, the proud, the Marines, right?
Yes.
And I had talked to a Navy recruiter. I went to the Army recruiting office, and there was just something about the Marines that just really appealed to me. The fact that they were the smallest armed forces, the smallest branch in the armed forces, and the recruiter really just. He had this like presence about him, and he just was very proud, had his chest out and everything, and like he just presented himself in a different way that the other recruiters did not. And I just really liked that about him. You could tell he just exuded confidence and poise and all these little great things. Yeah, very proud. And the way that he explained the Marines was like, look, the Army's giving out enlistment bonuses, they're going to offer you this, they're going to give you that. The only thing that we're going to promise you is that you'll be able to hold the name Marine for the rest of your life. We're not going to give you a bonus. We're not going to give you this. We're not going to give you that. You will be one of the few, one of the proudest to ever walk the face of the earth just by joining the Marines. And I said, sign me up.
That's nice. That's really something.
And again, the Marines just had like a stigma, right, for being like really tough and really hard to get into. And there was just something about it that just appealed to me.
Huh. Yeah. That's wonderful. Wow. So what happened when you departed for training camp? This was in
98.
98?
January of 1998. What's the saying? You wake up and smell the coffee. It was a rude awakening. First thing you do.
Where were you going to?
I was going to South Carolina, Parris Island. That's where the Marine Corps Recruit Depot is on the East Coast, and then there's one in San Diego on the West Coast.
Okay.
But everyone east of the Mississippi, I guess, goes to South Carolina.
Okay.
So they took us to a hotel in Staten Island because we had to get up really early to go to the airport. And then my recruiter warned me that when you get down there, the first 3 days you don't really sleep because the onboarding process is so long and fast that they just need to cram in a bunch of stuff. First thing they do, they shave your head. They
Really?
shave your head right away, just so you know what's about to happen to you.
Why do they do that?
I think it's just more or less like them trying to reinvent you or just kind of to try to break you down a little bit. And there's just something with, I guess most people at that time haven't had their head shaven by somebody else. You see people going there with long hair, and I really don't know why they do it, but I for sure I know they're just trying to break you down to build you back up.
Do they do that for women too?
No. No, they don't do that for women. Just for men.
Just for men. Okay, sorry. So go ahead. So then they shaved your head.
They shave your head, and
Yep.
then you start getting all your uniforms. They throw you through the medical process, which is really long. You're getting a bunch of vaccines, a bunch of shots. I guess I don't really know what half of it was.
Is that everyone gets them?
Yeah.
Even they don't know yet where you're going to be sent.
Well, this is just for Marine Corps boot camp. I think a lot of it is because there's mosquitoes and it's like a swampy area.
Oh.
So they're just, I know that they're giving you like flu shots. A lot of it is just like preventative, I guess, just to
Okay.
make sure you don't get sick while you're down there. And I was there for 3.5 months, 13 weeks, and
Oh, that's
I think
a long time.
Yeah, it's the longest boot camp out of all of them.
Wow.
I think the Army's like 8 weeks or 9
Okay.
weeks or something like that,
Yeah.
2 months.
Yeah.
And the Marine Corps is
Wow.
just over 3.
How did you feel adjusting to the military life there?
It was very, very, very hard for me.
Really?
Yeah, it was extremely hard. It was my first time away from home. It was my first time away from my parents.
Wow.
Aside from going on vacation with my parents a few times, it was really like the first time I was away that far by myself.
Wow.
And I had a hard time, I remember this right away, I had a hard time understanding the drill instructors, the way that they spoke, because a lot of them were from like Alabama and down
accent.
south, and they had really heavy accents, and I was a kid from Queens, and I didn't understand a freaking word that they were saying.
And you don't have an accent.
No, not really. Not really.
Wow.
I mean, I guess people pick up my accent when I go outside of New York.
Yeah.
I guess I have like a New York accent.
I don't hear it. What were they like, your instructors?
They were terrible.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah, they were horrible. But
Why?
again, it was my first time away from home, and it's boot camp. You don't expect them to be nice to you.
Okay.
And again, they're just trying to they're breaking you down to build you back up and make you tough. And for me, it was really good. It was a rude awakening, but it was definitely something that I needed at the time because again, I was a 17-year-old, 18-year-old knucklehead. I didn't have any discipline. I didn't know the meaning of respect or anything like that.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely changed me. It definitely made me a better person, for sure. It made me appreciate a lot of things. It made me appreciate where I came from, the country that I live in, the lifestyle that we have. Yeah, because when you're stripped of nothing and they take everything away, and then they basically make you earn everything that you have,
Wow.
again, it makes you appreciate a lot of things.
Sure.
And as a 17, 18-year-old kid, I was spoiled at the time for sure. I had everything I wanted before that. Again, it brings a lot of things to light, for sure.
What was it like, the food, and did you have any, I guess in boot camp you don't have a social life, there's no leave, but
There's no free time. You don't pick with the food. That was my first time and my first encounter with grits. I didn't know what grits was.
oh yeah, southern thing.
Grits. I was like, what is this stuff? But you're just so damn hungry.
Oh, you're kidding.
And you just scoop it all up anyways. I hated it.
Really?
But I still ate every last drop.
I guess when you're hungry you'll eat anything.
You're starving, you eat anything. I mean, they would put like a little 2-pack of crackers that you get with soup. I would scoop, I would
Oh,
eat
wow.
every single crumb. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great.
How, were you in barracks? Is that where you lived? or-
Yeah, we this is a boot camp still, obviously. We were in buildings that were 3 floors, and in each floor was basically like it looked very similar to this room, but just a lot bigger.
Uh-huh.
And I believe at one point we had 90 recruits in that
Oh, wow.
room. And then by the time we graduated, I think we graduated with a class of 56 or 58.
Oh,
We lost a lot.
what, they left? They did?
No, you can't quit.
You can't quit?
You can't quit, no.
Oh.
People do eventually do quit, but the fastest way to get out of boot camp is just to pass. And you get, unfortunately, boot camp is meant to weed out the people who don't belong there, or the people who are mentally tough, or who just don't have it inside of them to be in the military.
So if God forbid that happens, what then the Marines tells you to leave?
No, so what happens is there are certain phases in boot camp, and there's certain things that you have to pass. Like, you have to pass as a marksman, you have to pass swimming qualification. There's a lot of things you have to pass. And sometimes people have deficiencies or weaknesses in certain things. And if you fail a certain part, you get left back, just like in grade school.
Okay.
So you basically get extended. So that 3.5 month boot camp turns into 4 or 5 months. Ooh. Yeah. If you quit mentally, they don't just let you go home. They send you somewhere else, like to see like a psychologist and stuff like that, and to
so
see
maybe you could continue.
To see if, and usually what they do, they'll use every last possible chance to make you stay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because they're trying to see if it's inside of you, to see if you have that mental toughness, so if you can build it up or find it in you.
That's almost 50% that you lost.
Just about, yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
We lost quite a few people during the swim qualifications, and then some people couldn't shoot. They needed more. They needed like remedial shooting. And if you can't swim, you can't be a Marine. Obviously,
okay.
We're on Navy ships all the time. We're an amphibious assault unit. You need to know how to swim.
Sure.
And every Marine is a basic rifleman, meaning that even if you're a cook, something happens, you could pick up a rifle and you know how to shoot, and you know how to maintain yourself and how to protect your fellow Marines, right? And obviously, if you can't pass basic rifleman course in boot camp, then you can't be a Marine, so they make you do it again. Yep. So what happens is everything goes in phases. The new group of recruits that are coming into the rifle portion of boot camp, whoever failed gets put in that one.
Oh, I see.
You get put in with a brand new group. You have to relearn everything. It sucks. You got to do that whole thing all over again.
But some of those that repeated things, they then were able to finish and continue.
I hope so.
Oh, you don't know. There's no way to know.
No, we don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. There's so many different people running.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Again, this is Marine Corps boot camp. I don't know how Army, Navy, or Air Force does it.
Yeah. So I'm sure it's very different.
Probably.
Did you receive any specialized training after boot camp?
Yes. So when I signed up, I got a decent score on the ASVAB, which is basically the test that you have to take, the aptitude test that you have to take for them to know where your skills are and what your strengths are and stuff.
You take that before or after?
Before. Yeah, you take this before even heading off to boot camp.
Oh, I see.
You need to get a certain score to pass. And again, the Marine Corps' requirements and standards are a little bit higher than the other ones.
Really?
So if you can't pass that test, you don't go in.
Okay.
Yeah. So I scored pretty good on my ASVAB, so I can basically pick any job. And the recruiter was like, "Hey, why don't you pick this, pick that, like office jobs and like working on planes?" And I'm like, "No. What
did you want?
I'm not joining the Marines to go sit in an office. No way. I wanted the adventure. I wanted, the dream that they sold, the posters, jumping out of helicopters.
You did.
Blowing stuff up. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to do infantry.
Wow.
And my recruiter, I remember him trying to talk me out of it. He's like, "Are you sure? Like, this is what the people that don't score good on the ASVAB have to do."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Like, you can do this, you can do that, you can use this skill when you get out of the Marines and work for some airline or work at the airport. I said, no.
Wow.
No. I want the rockets and the bombs and storming the beaches. I want to do all that stuff.
Very brave.
So I signed up for infantry.
Oh.
And once I was once I got to my unit, which is after boot camp, after all the initial training.
Where was that?
So boot camp was in Parris Island, South Carolina. Then they let you go home for 10 or 15 days, I forget, for like a little bit of leave. Then I went to School of Infantry, which is in Camp Geiger, which is just outside of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, Jacksonville, North Carolina. And then from there, they sent you to Camp Lejeune, which is like right next door.
Oh, okay.
So I was there. I was a regular infantry, a rifleman for 2 years. And then I took a tryout to become a sniper. And out of the...
Is that more training then?
Yes, it's considered like special forces.
Oh.
Yeah. Out of 50-something that tried out, they took 9 of us.
Ooh.
And I was fortunate enough to be selected.
Wow, no kidding.
Yeah, so once I got into the Scout Sniper Platoon, which is technically like special forces for the battalion, I was sent to sniper school, which I failed the first time. There's an 85% attrition rate.
Oh, geez.
Yes.
Wow.
It's one of the toughest schools in all the military.
Wow.
Yeah, and then had to go back a second time, finally.
Really?
And then from there, I did a ton of other specialized training. We did some, I went to Close Air Support School in Norfolk. Close Air Support.
Oh.
It's Close Air Support specialty training in Norfolk, Virginia. It's for specialty training when you're sitting on top of a mountain to talk to fighter jets, to guide bombs and missiles onto enemy targets like tanks and that kind of stuff. I did that for a week, and then I did a ton of other schools. I went to NCO school, which is called Non-Commissioned Officer School. I did that in Japan, and a bunch of other stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrific.
The list goes on and on.
You learned a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. And then, where you sent, then where did you serve after all this training?
Oh, so my base was North Carolina, Camp Lejeune. I was pretty much there the whole time when I wasn't deployed or doing specialty training in different areas. Like we did assault climber school in West Virginia. We did another training called Combined Arms Exercise. We did that 2 times in the Mojave Desert in California.
What does that mean, combined arms?
It's basically like a mock war.
Oh.
They take all of the assets that the Marine Corps has, right, air, land, and sea, and they just kind of put it all together in a big fake war.
Okay,
Yeah.
Practice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, we did that 2 times. But basically I was in Camp Lejeune the whole time.
And then when were you deployed the first time?
So the first time I was deployed, we went to, where did we go?
What year was that? You remember?
I want to say it was 1999 when there was the air war happening with between Serbia and Kosovo and all that stuff. Slobodan Milosevic. That was starting to heat up, and then we were scheduled to do a Mediterranean float. You do that at least once in your 4-year enlistment.
Oh.
It's where they take a Marine Corps unit and they put you on a ship for 6 months, and basically you're patrolling the Mediterranean on usually a group of like 2, 3, or 4 ships, and usually we have Marines and Navy in the Mediterranean at all times.
Oh.
As one ship is leaving, another one is going in.
Just for safety?
Just to have somebody there
present
in case something happens in that immediate area.
Wow.
And when we were on our way, a bunch of stuff started happening in Kosovo. Serbia invaded, and we sent over a bunch of planes, and we're bombing stuff over there. So they sent us in as a peacekeeping force, basically to be their police. But we were there technically on a humanitarian mission, but
don't you have to defend yourself or something?
Yeah, we got into a couple firefights rather quick.
We lost people in Kosovo, no?
We were fortunate enough not to.
We did.
My immediate group, but yeah, we lost some people for sure. Yeah.
Wow. How long were you there?
I was there for 3. I was in Kosovo, I want to say, for 3 months.
Really?
3 months, yeah. Yeah, 3 months.
And then how do they decide when, was it over, or they only assign you a certain period of time?
Yeah, since we're on a Mediterranean float, we're only there for a certain amount of time, and what happens is when we're done with our time, we get replaced by another unit.
Okay.
So another unit that was showing up, we packed up and said, here's the base.
So the conflict wasn't over?
No, not by. It was obviously getting better. The longer we stayed. The idea was to build them back up, to build up Kosovo back up, so they can have their own police force. They just didn't have the means for it.
Did you stay on the ship the whole time?
No,
to sleep and eat?
No, we stayed in. We took over a school actually. That was like bombed out.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you do that? The Marines build things in there so that you can live in there?
We just slept on the floor. Yeah, sleeping bags. Yeah. And no running water, no electricity.
How's that work?
Usually when we a Marine unit, whether they're on a ship or they get sent somewhere, we'll always have engineers with us. We have Marine Corps engineers.
Okay.
And they're there to build stuff and build bridges and build bathrooms and that kind of stuff. Yeah, facilities.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, did you feel? It must have been kind of unsafe there.
For sure.
Did you feel that?
At the time?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. The first thing we had to do was cover up the windows with like blankets and stuff, so they can't see who's walking by and see shadows and stuff like that.
Gee.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you just stay away from the windows.
Yeah, but you ate in there. You did everything.
We did everything in there.
Wow. So that was 3 months there. Then where
months.
did you go?
Then after that, we were kind of done with like combat and the humanitarian portion of our mission, simply because there was another unit that came in and kind of relieved us. From there, we just started training exercises. We finally got a little bit of downtime. We went to Spain. I got to go to Spain for the first time. Then we went to Turkey.
All on ship. You've traveled on ships.
Yeah, on a big Navy ship, yeah.
And what did you do when you got to these countries?
Mainly training. Turkey, we didn't get to go out and like explore. We were just training with the Turkish armed forces.
Oh,
Yeah, so we were only off the ship for like a week, maybe 4 or 5 days. We got to train with the British Marines because they were there too.
in Turkey?
In Turkey, yeah. So what happened was a helicopter brought us from our ship to their ship and brought some of their Marines to our ship just so we can kind of see how each other lives and works on a ship. And that was pretty cool. Just a change of pace, a change of atmosphere. Got to look at some different faces.
Yeah, yeah.
And when we went to Spain, that was purely relax and R&R for sure. Yeah. We definitely needed it after like almost 4 months of just straight working.
Wow.
So they got to let us go out and explore, and it was a good time.
How long were you there?
In Spain?
Yeah.
I think we were in Spain for 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah.
Nice. So then where?
And then I think after that we just stayed on the ship for a little while, and then it was time for us to head back to the United
home.
States. Yeah. So that was 6 months total.
Of what?
Of being on the ship, Kosovo, Turkey, Spain.
Wow.
All that combined was like 6 months.
So then how much of a time do you spend now in Camp Lejeune again?
Usually when in between deployments, it could be anywhere between 6 months and a year.
Really?
But it really all depends. So then we got back.
And you just continually train
All the
and
time.
work out?
Yeah, all the time.
Wow.
All the time. Just gotta
So
practice.
you're ready.
Practice all the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're practicing every aspect of being deployed or going to war.
So you know what to do once
Exactly.
God forbid it happens.
I mean, when I tell you that we practice everything, we practice packing, we practice buying everything that we needed and laying everything out, having it inspected to make sure every single last little detail. You have, when you're in the military, especially in the Marines, you have to have a certain level of attention to detail, and that's something that they instill in you early on.
Really?
Yeah, weekly inspections, a lot of different things. Yeah.
That's always a good thing to have.
Absolutely, you got to be ready because things happen.
Sure. Quick.
As we'll talk about, I'm
Yeah.
sure, in a little
Yeah.
bit. You have to be ready at all times because you never know when you might be sitting on base, enjoying a soda, having a beer or something. Eating a burger, and then in a couple days you might be on a plane heading somewhere.
Wow.
You never know.
So after you were there for 6 months again in Camp Lejeune?
I think it
this
was a
was-
little bit longer this time. I think it was there for like 8 or 9 months.
So
And then we have, so usually when you when you join an infantry battalion, you're pretty much guaranteed to do a med float, which is a 6 months on the ship, Mediterranean float, and then a 6-month deployment to Okinawa, Japan.
Oh,
Yeah, just for different styles of training. In Okinawa, we do a lot of jungle training.
oh,
Yeah, so when we got back from the Mediterranean, we already started gearing up and preparing for
Japan.
the Japan deployment.
wow.
And I think we were back for 9 months, I want to say.
Back
In Camp Lejeune,
Lejeune
yeah.
to training. Did you need more shots and more
Yeah,
of that?
yeah.
And so then you
There's
left.
different things to look out for in Japan than there were, anywhere else. So.
Right, but it's safe, basically.
Yeah, well, you're on a base.
You're on a base,
You're on a
yeah.
base. It looks very similar to being on a base in the United States. The
Okay.
building is almost exactly the same. Just the scenery is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty much the same thing.
So when did you leave for the next deployment?
I don't remember the exact month. I want to say it was early in the year because it was late in the year because I spent the millennium, year 2000,
Oh.
in Japan. I remember
Oh,
that,
okay.
Yeah.
So this is towards the end of 99.
Yes. So we did Kosovo first, and then when we got back, we shipped off maybe 8 months later.
Okay.
Yeah. And then because I remember I spent my 21st birthday. Yeah, I spent my 21st birthday in Japan, and then
Japan.
the millennium in Japan,
Wow.
2000. Yeah.
How long were you there?
6 months.
6 months. And then back to Camp Lejeune.
And then back to Camp Lejeune, and then technically that was when I was coming back. I only had less than a year to go.
Oh, okay.
before my enlistment was up.
The enlistment was 3 years?
4 years.
Oh, four,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's so you do 4 years active, 4 years inactive.
Oh,
The inactive service means that they're allowed to call you back in case they need
it's like reserves or no?
inactive reserve. So you don't have to do anything.
Oh,
You don't have to show up. You don't have to work. It's
Okay.
just technically on paper.
okay.
God forbid something happens, they're allowed to call you back within that immediate 4
4
years
years.
following
Okay.
your transition back.
Okay. So then after Japan,
So after Japan, I had already started networking back home. I had mentioned that my father worked for a Fortune 500 company which distributed wine and liquor. And when I was back home for leave, when I got back from Japan, I requested recruitment duty,
oh,
which is it's not a full station, meaning you're not doing it for a long period of time. You're doing it for 1 month, and I got to come home for a month while I was still in the Marine Corps, and I got to work with the recruiting office in Flushing, Queens. I don't even know if it's still there. So I got to spend 1 month back home trying to recruit people, trying to help the office enlist new Marines. And then when I was heading back, I only had like 3 months left in the Marine Corps. The idea that I told my unit was, hey, I'm thinking about re-enlisting, but as a recruiter back home, I'm requesting 30 days of recruiter's aid to go back home just to try it out.
Okay.
But I had no intention on
really?
doing it at
Why?
all.
You really didn't want
I
to?
just didn't want to. I was kind of on the fence.
Did you really want to get out?
I was on the fence.
Okay.
I was leaning more towards not re-enlisting. And then while I was home for 30 days, I was selling the Marine Corps. And then my father asked me, he's like, do you want to see if I can get you a job with my company? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
So he got me an interview. I went and I interviewed with the vice president of the company. And he loved me. And
What's not to love?
I mean, well, to go from shooting people
Yeah.
and blowing stuff up to try to sell wine and liquor, it's kind of a different thing. But I think the fact that I was doing the 30 days of recruiter's aid, which is basically you're selling the Marine Corps, right?
Right.
I was just dabbling into the sales genre, the
Oh,
sales
okay.
aspect of business. And so I tentatively had the job. My 30 days was up. I went back to Camp Lejeune,
Okay.
and the outboarding process it's not a 1, 2, 3 thing. It takes a while. You have to go and get medicals done. You have to get your teeth checked one more time. You have to get checked off.
Okay.
Because they're not going to let you out if something's wrong with you, right?
Oh,
if
I
there's
see.
something physically wrong with you, because they're responsible. So you had to go through the whole process of doing all your paperwork, and it takes 2 to 3 months.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah. So I was in the middle of doing my paperwork, and I remember it was September 11th. I was supposed to get out the day after Christmas. So December 26, 2001 was my last day. I was going to have my car packed and head home. And then I remember I was at a rec center where they had this is before cell phones and all this stuff. This was
Right.
in 2001, right?
Right.
Before everyone had a cell phone. And you can go to the rec center and use internet for free and make cheap phone calls. And I think I was calling home. Or I
This
was
is
calling,
Camp Lejeune?
Camp Lejeune, yeah. And I think I was calling a girlfriend that I had at the time or something. I don't remember. And I remember being at the rec center and looking up. They have TVs everywhere, and looking up and seeing one of the Twin Towers, up in flames. And they're talking about plane crashed into the Twin Towers. And I remember looking at it and chuckling and saying, "What the hell? The pilot drunk or something? Like, what's wrong, idiot? Like, how do you do that? And we're sitting there watching. We're like, oh my, how does that happen? How do you miss one of the tallest buildings in New York City and you hit that thing? Because they thought it was an accident at the time, right? And they're talking about, oh yeah, maybe it was pilot error or malfunction on the plane. I'm like, that sucks. And I remember watching live as the second plane hit. And then we're watching, and I'm sitting there with a bunch of Marines, and we're like, wait a minute. This is not normal. Something's going down, something's happening. So we hightailed it out of there, went back to my barracks, and of course everyone's watching on all the TVs, and we're watching, and by now I think it was pretty obvious that it was not an accident. So we're watching, and then we get the reports of all the other planes and all the other craziness, all the other madness that was happening.
Pennsylvania
And the Pentagon, and all that stuff, right? And then I remember the first thing that dawned on me was like, I am not going anywhere. And we knew it
Really?
right away.
Wow.
Absolutely. I mean, we knew something was going to happen.
Oh, God. God.
It's not like I was getting out the next day. I still had like 2.5 months, right? And I remember seeing that and thinking, yep, I'm not going to be able to go home. I know it for a fact. But, you know, it wasn't, don't get me wrong, it wasn't like I was being selfish or
Right.
like, oh, I'm not going to get to go home. It's like, oh, I'm not going home.
Yeah.
Obviously something's going down and we need to do what we have to do, right? And the next day we had because I was in the special forces already, so we got information before the rest of the battalion did, because we're technically part of the intelligence section of the battalion. So as word comes down, we get to hear it first or second, right?
That you can't tell anyone.
No, I mean, you know, they would get the information.
You couldn't
hours
tell
later.
your family.
No. I remember making phone calls home and not being able to say what was happening. And I remember I had to call my dad and be like, hey, I need you to come down here, drive down from New York to North Carolina, pick my stuff up, because I'm going to be gone and I don't know when I'm coming back.
Wow.
He's like, where are you going? I was like, I can't say.
Oh, gee.
Yeah.
Did you know at that point?
Yeah, absolutely did. We absolutely did. And they told us right away, all you guys who are getting out, prepare for stop loss. You're not going to go anywhere. And I was like, yeah, whatever.
Wow.
You know, well, let's do what we have to do.
Did they tell you then where you were going to be going?
No, we had no idea yet. It took quite some time. It took probably a month before, because at the time we had no idea who it was.
Yes,
We had an
right.
idea, right? But we didn't know.
Right.
We figured it out rather quickly, but we still didn't know. They're not just going to send people everywhere. They need to figure out where it is that we're going to go and why, and what we're going to do. Yeah, so I was supposed to be out December 26th. December 22nd, I was on a plane heading to Frankfurt, Germany, which entailed we're going to transfer and head to Afghanistan from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
When did they tell you that that you're going to Afghanistan?
Probably like a month later, a month after 9/11. I mean, every day we're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? You know, we're like eager to know and dying to know when and where we're going to go.
What did you do in the interim?
A lot of
So you
hurry up
left.
and waiting.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, a lot of hurry up and waiting, just preparing, because I knew I was going to go. Being that we were snipers, what we did usually, they didn't send our entire battalion. They sent a small portion of the battalion. And
Why is that?
just because the specific mission that we had. So this is the way it worked. The reason why I was at the rec center is because every unit on the Marine Corps base has something called air alert, meaning you have to have your bags packed and you're not allowed to leave for more than 24 hours or 12 hours from the base. And every time you do leave, you have to sign out and say where you're going. If you're going to leave the base, you need permission.
Is that always?
We only do that for a week or two at a time. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be wrong, but each unit will transition and they'll do air alert like once or twice a year.
Oh,
Usually
I see.
once a year. Yeah.
Just to get ready.
Ready
To know how to be ready.
In case something happens,
Yeah.
you're the first one to go. Pack your stuff and you're going to be on a plane in 72 hours.
Wow.
That 72 hours turned into a month. My group just so happened to be on air alert when 9/11 happened. Being that they didn't figure it out right away to go, they said, hey, since you guys were on air alert when it happened, it's going to be you guys to go. So, and within that air alert, they break down each battalion into smaller little groups. Okay, if it happens, you and your group will go. But since we had a little bit more time to plan everything out, our unit picked and chose basically all the senior guys.
Oh.
So we left all the younger Marines back and said, hey, you guys don't need to be going off to war. So they sent a bunch of senior Marines to go.
And that included you?
That included me. I was a sergeant at the time. So,
Wow.
yeah. Absolutely.
Scary.
But it makes sense. You're not going to let your seasoned guys who know what they're doing
Right.
get out and then
Right.
send a bunch of new guys who don't have any experience or,
Right.
this doesn't make any sense.
So how many got sent?
So with my immediate unit, we were a small group. There was 30 of us, 30 snipers. We sent 40, 12. I think it was 12 of us that they sent.
From
But-
Germany or just
No,
going
this
to
is
Germany?
this is just for my snipers. On top of that, there was another 250 Marines that we sent
Wow.
as part of that group,
All going to Afghanistan?
all going specifically to the embassy
In
in
Afghanistan?
Afghanistan, in Kabul. Yeah. So
Okay.
our mission was to because the embassy had been shut down since like 1979.
Oh,
They abandoned it, and it was abandoned ever since. So our mission was to go open the embassy back up. We were going to send a new U.S. ambassador there, and our mission was to protect him. Was to protect the ambassador and all the other civilians and engineers and different other people that were at Americans.
when did they send the new embassy staff over?
So it was right around the same time when we went over.
Why did they do that right after 9/11?
because we needed to establish a foothold in Afghanistan
Wow.
for political reasons. A lot of stuff going on that I didn't know about.
Right. But the country allowed us to inhabit the embassy again?
We just
You just do?
we just did it. Yeah.
Huh.
We just did it. So our mission was to go in there and like reestablish Afghanistan's government because the Taliban was in control, correct? The
Right.
Taliban was in control. So our mission was to overthrow the Taliban and initialize democracy, which we did through, I believe his name was President, or I believe that's what he went by, President Karzai,
Okay.
which is somebody that we appointed or we helped come to power in Afghanistan.
Okay.
And he was basically an ally of the U.S. So
Okay.
the ambassador was there to oversee a lot of things and basically be the president's voice and eyes and ears in Afghanistan while all these other things were happening
Wow. Where did you stay?
at the embassy.
Oh,
Yeah.
you all the Marines?
Well, all the Marines that were there to protect the ambassador and the embassy were stayed at the embassy. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We had
How-
bunk beds.
Really?
Like we were kids all over again. Yeah.
So what was that like there? What did you have to? What were you doing? What did you do?
So being that I was a sniper, myself and my sniper team, we were there to provide overwatch on the roof of the embassy and just basically keep an eye out on everything that was going on. So we had tons of optics, sniper rifles, different scopes and stuff like that, infrared, just to keep an eye on what was going on. Since we had a high vantage point, we could see a lot of what was going on around town because we instilled the curfew. And then obviously people weren't allowed. Before we arrived in Afghanistan, there was people walking around with AK-47s, weapons out. When we got there, we got rid of that, and
Really?
basically anybody with a weapon was an enemy.
Huh.
Yeah.
When you see people walking around, how do you know though? They all look the same.
Again, if they had a weapon,
they
that
had
would
a
tell us.
weapon.
Yeah, that would tell us that they were not friendly.
And then you arrest them or you take them out?
No, we had good rules of engagement. Basically, anybody with a weapon was fair game.
Ah,
Yeah.
wow. Did you get the embassy when you were up there? You got attacked sometimes?
Very much.
Ooh,
Very much so. Yeah.
that was awful.
Yeah, we got. I remember when we first started getting shot at. Just like anything else, it would be surprising. But it got to the point where we would get shot at, and I wouldn't even duck anymore. It was just like, yep, they're shooting at us again. Okay, all right,
kidding.
good. Which direction? Northwest.
So then they were taken care of by other troops?
No, what they would do when they would shoot at us, it was sporadic sniper fire. A lot of times hiding behind a wall, just shooting without even looking.
Oh,
That's the way they do it. Because they knew we were up there and we could shoot.
wow.
Yeah, we could shoot. Marine snipers can shoot from far away, and we'll hit anything.
Did you get injured, some guys?
No. Luckily, my group. Again, we were only there for just under 5 months. Luckily, my group.
5 months, that's a long time.
Yeah, we were there from December till late May,
This is 2002.
2001, 2002. Yes.
So how do you protect a whole building like that?
Well, it wasn't just us. We were at the very top. So I don't know if you know at the top of most buildings with like an elevator shaft or with a staircase, it usually has another elevated position on top of it.
Okay.
So we built a staircase on top of that, and then the building has 4 corners, which we had other not snipers, but we had a designated marksman. Basically, it's like a step under a sniper. So we had people on all 4 corners looking out.
All the time?
All the time, 24 hours a day. So our shift was 12 hours on, 12 hours off
12 hours
for
staying
5
up
months. Yeah,
there? Whoa.
12 hours. It was you and one other person.
How do you eat, go to the bathroom,
Do
sleep?
it right there.
Wow.
Yep.
And what if it's dark? How do you see bad people who might attack you?
We have night vision and infrared.
You wear that?
The sniper, the night vision you can wear. We also had night vision on our scopes,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had a really big, expensive infrared scope. It was like this big, and you could basically see heat. Heat would show up as white.
And that's a person?
That's a person or an animal.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, so we'd be able to see that from far away. But for the most part, you wouldn't see too much movement at nighttime, with the exception of the sporadic sniper fire. But you wouldn't really see too much. It was a lot of the stuff happened during the daytime, but at nighttime is usually when they would shoot at us. Yeah, during the daytime they wouldn't shoot that much, but there's a lot more going on because you're in Kabul, which is a city.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, nothing like what we're used to in New York, but still it's densely inhabited. There's a lot of people. And in the daytime, you're alert because there's a lot going on. There's people
Right.
moving around. The people are going about their day, right?
Yeah.
And you have to be vigilant and just keep an eye on everybody because you never know.
That must be hard. I mean, if you see people with guns, but they're probably in the midst of a group of people that are just innocent civilians. So how do you deal with that?
We made it very clear that if you have a gun and you're out in public, that you will get shot at.
Oh, they all knew.
They all knew. We put the word out. We had translators, and we were working with the newly appointed Afghan government, the one that they were trying to build up. And they would mention it on TV and all this stuff. Like, there's a curfew. If you're out, you're going to get arrested or possibly even shot. And also, nobody's allowed to carry any weapons. You have a weapon, you're a fair game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty good rule. It was pretty clear.
Sure.
So your duties were 12 hours stand guard?
Yes.
And then how much time in between?
It was literally rolling 12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Okay.
So you'd be on post, and then you'd be off post.
And what happens in the 12 hours that you're off?
That's when you do all the things that you need to do: sleep, eat, do your laundry,
In
write
that
letters.
building, in the embassy?
Yeah, in the same building. We didn't have electricity or running water at first, but we got that up and running, I think, within the first 3 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. They brought in generators, they brought in contractors from like South Africa and a bunch of other different places around the world, and they were building more permanent fixtures for us to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Were you witnessing on the ground like combat? Was there actual combat going on down there?
No, not so. Being that it was in the middle of the city, a lot of the fighting was happening in like the caves and in the mountains and stuff like that. When the army was doing a lot of that.
Our army.
Our army, yeah. Our Navy SEALs were actually there. They were out there fighting, going cave to cave and looking for Bin Laden.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So since we were in the middle of a huge city, ours was more security. Yeah. Again, not a lot of action would happen during the daytime. Most of it would happen at nighttime. When they would attack us, it would be at nighttime. Yeah. What I did get to do, which was a little bit different than what we were used to, because we're used to wearing our uniforms at all times, right? Since we were there with the State Department, and the State Department has their own federal agents, very much like CIA and FBI agents. They're wearing regular clothes, but you can tell they're armed, and they're wearing bulletproof vests and they have beards and stuff. Yeah. With the Oakley sunglasses on, the typical special agent look, right? They weren't that many of them, but they needed extra guns to come with them. Sometimes they would be transporting people back and forth, or picking up special dignitaries, or important people. Like I got to go and sit in the same car with Colin Powell.
You kidding?
Yeah, we picked them up from an airbase. And it was a large convoy of like Chevy Blazers. They were like plated with steel plates and stuff like that. And we had a bunch of Humvees and trucks and everything. We went to pick him up. Shook my hand. He got in the same car as us. Being that the special agents only have limited weapons, they have sidearms and like MP5s, which is submachine guns. They wanted to bring us because we had long-range rifles, grenades, all that other stuff, right? So whenever they needed to go out on a special mission, pick somebody up, it was a lot of stuff that I didn't understand what was going on because a lot of it was secret. But I did get to leave the embassy a few times to do that. But 90% of everybody else never left the embassy.
Really?
The embassy was covered by a 15-foot high, 3 or 4 foot wide concrete wall. It was huge. There was no getting over it unless, you had...
Was that built only after 9/11?
No, all of that was there.
That was always there?
Yeah, that was always there, yeah.
Well, that made you feel a little bit safer.
Having the wall there, but my biggest scare was one night. It was 2, 3 in the morning, and it's hard enough to stay awake when there's nothing going on, but you're doing everything you can to stay awake and stay vigilant, right? And I don't know how this guy got past us. Somebody, an Al-Qaeda terrorist or a Taliban operative, was able to sneak past all of our areas of vision, right? The field of view that we had, and went right up to the wall and planted an IED, which is an improvised explosive device, and set it off.
Oh my God.
On the wall at 2, 3 in the morning. It was the loudest explosion I've ever heard, and it literally went off maybe 100 feet away from me.
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I needed new underpants after that.
Oh my
I'm playing. But it scared the crap out of me.
Oh,
yeah, it really did.
Huge.
Yeah, and then we were looking, and we were so surprised. We're snipers. We know what we're looking for.
Right.
And this guy or guys got past us somehow.
How could they get it up on the wall?
No, they They laid it at the base.
At the base of the
They
wall,
laid it at
so the
base
whole
of the wall.
wall was destroyed?
No, it did nothing to the wall.
Really?
It did absolutely nothing.
So what did it do?
It just left a couple black marks, but I guess they didn't make one big enough, or
Wow.
they misjudged how big they needed to make it.
Wow, and no one was hurt?
Nobody was hurt. Nobody was hurt. But I mean, had that wall been smaller or closer to us,
Sure.
God only knows. But it's scary when you're out there looking the whole time.
Sure.
But again, we're foreigners to this area. These people know this place like the back of their hand. They probably know all the blind spots. They could have gotten there through sewers. Who knows? We
Was
have
the
no
goal?
idea.
What is the goal of that? To destroy the wall and attack the
They were
embassy?
trying to kill us, 100%.
Oh.
They were trying to kill us. I mean, they weren't going to kill all of us, but they were trying to kill some of us,
Wow,
And
that's
it
scary.
exploded right near our post. Yeah, like right in front of it. It was.
Wow.
I still to this day. Luckily, I don't have PTSD or anything like that. But that's the one thing that I do that I'll never forget.
Did it affect your hearing at all?
Yeah, I'm deaf in my right ear.
You're kidding.
Not deaf, but I'm hard of hearing
Hard of hearing.
on the right side. Yeah.
From being in the service?
From shooting and from that too.
Wow.
Absolutely.
So nobody was injured, really?
No.
Yeah.
No. Luckily, nothing happened to any of us.
That's scary.
Yeah, I mean, but when the bomb went off, we have illuminating devices, right? Like we shoot up flares and stuff, because it's all dark, and we have infrared too. But still, with infrared, we saw nothing. But because we have engineers, and we sent out a group of engineers the next day to go when the sun came up, to go and investigate the area, and they were saying that it was probably a time device. So it's not like they set it off and then hit a remote and then left. They probably set it to a timer, made their way out of there, and then it went off an hour later or half an hour later, or however much time they had to get away. So
Why
that's
is
why we
that?
couldn't see anybody.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
see.
yeah.
I was just going to ask you, why is that significant? That's why. So
Yeah, because
they got away.
we're sitting there looking, and then the guy was already long gone.
Wow.
Who knows how long it'd been sitting there?
But it's surprising that he wasn't discovered.
Nope.
It was at night, you said. Wow.
Again, if it was somebody that knew the area, they could have easily
Yeah.
gotten in and out of there without anybody seeing us. You can crawl, you can go through sewers, go through, who knows? Who knows? Just move really slow. Use buildings to block them or something. We have no idea. So
Did it happen ever again?
No, not while we were there.
Okay.
Not while we were there. When we left, another group of Marines from my same unit relieved us, and they ran into the same amount of problems after we left. Yeah.
And what else happened while you were over there those 5 months? Your duties were basically standing guard.
Pretty much.
12 hours at a time.
It was very boring.
But nerve-wracking, I mean. You didn't go out into the town at all, did you?
Only when I went out with the special agents.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I went out with them a bunch of times, and when I went out with them, they didn't let us go out in uniforms. They had us put on our civilian clothes.
Really?
Yeah, I had one set.
Oh.
That's all I brought with me. That's all that's all they tell you to bring with you. You're
Okay.
going to be in Afghanistan. You don't need civilian clothes. But
This
you
is
brought
like
one set.
to lay low so that they don't recognize who you are?
I mean, come on.
They can tell who you
Come
are.
on. We're the only guys in town driving Chevy Blazers.
Okay, yeah.
Is a Chevy Blazer in Afghanistan? No.
Wow.
No, there'd be like a half a truck being pulled by two donkeys. Like that's I'm not joking. Like that's really what the gas station when we would go fill up on gas. You think you're pulling up to a Mobil or a Citgo or a BP? No, it's two guys on the corner with oil drums.
You kidding?
Yeah,
Wow.
with oil drums and a hose going in and out of it, and somehow they use something to siphon it out. That's how we would fill up on gas.
When you go out, even in the civilian dress, I mean, that must have been kind of, anything could happen because they probably know who you are.
They know exactly who we are, and we were driving pretty far. So a lot of times
Why? Oh, to transport these
we
people?
would transport certain people, or we'd pick something up. Again, I didn't know what it was that we were doing. They were just saying like, "Oh, we need to go somewhere and pick something up." So we go from our embassy to the British embassy. We go from our embassy to the main palace where Karzai was.
And how far are these places from each other?
Everything's side roads. There's no highways or anything like that. Everything is side roads, dirt roads. So sometimes it'd be 20 minutes, sometimes it'd be 40 minutes.
Wow.
But a lot of it is like driving through alleys and like traffic and horses going by and farmers, and it was a lot of that. So it wasn't like very convenient traveling like it is here.
Well, they might even had bombs and set up in the road.
So what happens is when we were going to be on a route to go somewhere, they wouldn't take the same route there and back. It'd be a different route every time.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, because they don't, we don't want people to see us on
And
the same road
expect you to
all
come
the time.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it'd always be at different times. We wouldn't leave at the exact same times. And they did that on purpose, so they wouldn't be able
That's
to,
smart.
catch us or anything like that. Yeah.
Did you run into trouble at all at any time?
Not when we went out. Not when we went out. We didn't run into any trouble. But I did feel very vulnerable because we were far away.
Sure.
And they told us straight up, like, listen, if something happens, we're on our own.
What does that mean?
We're on our own. We have to fend for ourselves until somebody comes. But who knows when that would happen?
Wow.
That's why we came pretty prepared. But again, there was only 8 of us, 12 of us sometimes would go out.
What if there's a whole bunch of Taliban that come in?
We just have to handle ourselves and get out of the situation.
Well, you're all heavily armed, right? Do you wear bulletproof vests even under the civilian clothes?
When we went with them, yeah. But those bulletproof vests wouldn't stop rifle bullets. Only handguns.
Oh.
Yeah, and most people in Afghanistan were carrying around AK-47s.
Really?
7.62 millimeter assault rifles. But they would have us put it under our T-shirt.
What?
Like, this is not going to stop anything that they're going to be shooting
the
at
vest
us with.
under the T-shirt.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yep,
Wow.
Yep.
That was nerve-wracking.
Sure, I felt a lot safer at the embassy.
At the embassy.
Yeah, because there was 200 of us,
Sure.
Yeah.
So did you meet or did you learn a little of the language? Did you meet any locals?
No. There was a lot of separation between us and them.
Okay.
Yeah, because you have to imagine they only let a very small, select few of the locals inside the gates because they're worried about.
You don't know, yeah.
Exactly.
They let some in though?
Very
for
few.
what?
One of them was the cook.
Mm-hmm.
He was the ambassador's cook. He was like a personal chef or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple other maintenance people, workers.
How do you know if they're not going to turn on you?
I don't know. I know that there was other people, translators, and people who would interview them extensively.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like they would just walk around freely. People would keep an eye on them. And they would be inside. But it would be maintenance people for the embassy. I don't know, like plumbers and all weird stuff.
Cleaning and stuff like that.
Not so much cleaning, because Marines were professional janitors.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the one thing we do more often than not is clean
Wow.
things. Yeah.
Okay. So, were you witnessing any casualties or destruction while you were there?
In Afghanistan, we didn't witness any casualties myself. We did see a lot of the damage that we did.
In the city?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because prior to us going there, we did an extensive air campaign.
Oh.
Prior to sending in the Marines.
Okay.
It was all over the TV,
Yep.
bombing, everything. But in Kosovo, I remember seeing my first dead body, and then I remember seeing someone get shot for the first time.
Were these other military personnel or
Yeah.
civilians?
No, they're not civilians.
Oh.
Not any of our people.
Not your people?
No, they were Serbians,
Serbians? Wow. Serbian soldiers?
which is who we were
Fighting.
technically. I mean, we weren't technically fighting them. I guess we were, because we were bombing them too as well.
Yeah.
But when we got sent in Kosovo, we were there to provide humanitarian aid.
Oh.
Yeah.
But what about defending yourselves?
Same thing. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
You had to defend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they had guns and they were trying to kill us. So
How long were you in Kosovo? Wait, what year was that?
that was '99.
Before you went to
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan, yeah. You were there 3 months, you said?
3 months, yeah.
So, I mean, when you're deployed like that, 5 months in Afghanistan, do you stay in touch with family and friends? Can you?
I mean, this is, again, going back a while. Internet wasn't what it is now. Cell phones, that kind of stuff. Even if we had them, we weren't allowed to use them. So what we had at the embassy, it was really weird. It was like a satellite phone, and you would talk, and then you would hear your echo.
Oh, delay. It's
There was
like a delay.
there was like a 4-second delay.
Well, that's a long time.
So you would say something, and then you would hear it again.
Yes.
And then the other person on the other line would start talking, and then you're talking over each other.
Right.
But you would only have those phone calls for like 3 or 5 minutes at a time, and then it would just shut down. I don't know if they did it on purpose. Probably they did it on purpose, just so you wouldn't have long, lengthy conversations.
Right. Did you talk to your folks?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, not very much.
Did they know where you were?
Yeah, because when I called my father to come and pick up my stuff and
You
take
could
my
tell
car,
him?
I told him in person. Yeah,
You were allowed to tell him?
Yeah, absolutely. Just couldn't say anything over the phone. Yeah.
Wow. Did you, I mean, there was no R&R when you were over there, really? You were always kind of on.
The only rest and relaxation you would get was on your 12 hours off. they wouldn't bother you to go work or to go do stuff. So
Oh.
I'd find the time to read a book, the one Tom Clancy
Yeah.
novel that I
Yeah.
had.
Which one was it? You remember?
I don't even remember. There's so many. No, I
Wow.
don't remember. I remember it was about like a spy, and it really rang home with me because the ending chapter or the ending of the scene or the ending of the book was based in Long Island.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, the guy had the CIA spy had to drive from JFK Airport to some like near the lighthouse in Montauk or something,
Wow.
and he had to drive all the way out there and save his wife.
That's
It was,
pretty
I don't remember the name of the book.
And then you circulated the book amongst everyone.
Yeah, I didn't take it with me. I left it up to you guys. I've had enough of Tom Clancy and this stupid novel. I'm
That's
done.
funny. Wow. So 5 months there, and then you came
Yeah.
back to Camp Lejeune?
Then I came back to Camp Lejeune, and
So
yeah,
we're 2002
that
now.
was 2002. That was May, and then I got out in June.
Oh, so you didn't want to re-up.
Absolutely not.
Did they give you the option?
Oh yeah, they were pushing me. I was like, no,
Really?
done.
Done.
Done. And I remember very, very. I was at our post on the top of the embassy, and usually when somebody wants to come up to our post, they'll knock first because they have to go up a ladder, go up a staircase, right? And somebody knocked, and obviously it's somebody in the base. And we looked down, I was like, who's there? And the guy said his name. And he's like, can I come up? I was like, yeah, come up, sure. But he spoke English, obviously, right? And when he comes up, we didn't know who he was, but he was dressed like a special agent. Had a beard, hat on, Oakley sunglasses, the vest with all the magazines and the guns and all that stuff. He was obviously an American. And he walks up and he introduces himself. He worked for the CIA's police force. The CIA has their own police force.
Oh.
So they have their own compound in Langley, Virginia, and probably all the different areas in the country. And they, very much like the military, have their own police force. Just like there's military police, the CIA governs their own compounds. Right?
Okay.
They don't use, like in Virginia, they don't use Virginia police. They have their own.
Okay.
And it's called SPS, Security Protective Service, a division of the CIA.
Okay.
And this guy comes up and he introduces himself as working for the CIA, and he was an ex-Marine sniper
Oh, you're
who
kidding.
was a sniper in the Marines, and then when he got out, joined the CIA's police force, and he got promoted to not wear a uniform anymore. And basically, what he does, he did the exact same thing that we were doing, except he would travel with the special agents and work in different countries, and he would be their bodyguard or their security, their
Wow.
police, you know. And he was going back and forth between their hideout or they had like a safe house or whatever. I don't know where it was. He was going back and forth between the safe house and the embassy a lot. And since I don't know if you know anything about Marines, but we're very tight.
Yes.
A Marine could walk through that door right now. I could never met him, and instantly he's my brother.
Yeah.
Instantly we are
So nice.
connected and bonded through the Marines and through the camaraderie and through everything that we've been through equally, right? So he comes up, introduces himself, says ex-Marine, and then he says he's a sniper. We're like, hey, buddy, what's up?
Nice.
You know, we welcomed him with open arms. And he just kept coming back and forth, and he kept talking about his job. And he kept glorifying it. And I was on my way out. The rest of the guys that were there still had 6 months, a year, 2 years. And it just, I don't know why, I just found it very appealing. And I was like, and he's asking me, so what are you going to do when you get out? And I'm like, I don't know. I kind of had this job lined up, and now that I'm meeting you, I kind of interested.
Do you think
in,
by your dad's company there,
Yeah.
that you would have gotten the job back?
Yeah, I was already a shoo-in.
Okay.
But then the only thing that now Afghanistan pushed that back.
Right.
You know, but I was still hoping that I had it.
Right.
You know. And I guess just being in country, being in Afghanistan, and surrounded by war and all this other stuff. I don't know. The things that he was saying to me just really appealed to me. But he told me straight up, he's like, you know, I have a nice apartment, I have a house or apartment, I have a nice car, and it's been sitting in the garage for 9 months. I haven't been home in 9 months.
He had a family?
Nope.
Oh.
No family. He's like, do you have a girlfriend? I'm like, yeah. He goes, you plan on marrying her? I'm like, you know, I'm 21 years old. I'm 22 years old. I don't know. He's like, if you plan on having a family and staying in touch with your relatives and friends and all that stuff, this is not the job for you.
Really?
Yeah, and he told me straight up. He was like, listen, if you don't mind living that nomad lifestyle and always being on the move, he's like, I get paid very well. He's like, I probably made north of $200,000 in the last year.
Nice.
He goes, it's all sitting in the bank because I have nowhere to spend it.
Right.
You know, it's like my apartment's paid for, my car's paid for, but it's not using it. You know, it's like, this is very much living that soldier lifestyle, you know. And at the time I was like, yeah.
Lots of travel. Lots of travel?
I was like, I'm gonna do it, this is what I want to do.
Really?
Yeah, I was gung-ho about it. Really wanted to do it. He gave me personal cell phone number and fax number and email for his recruiter. He's like, talk to this guy, mention my name. They're gonna do a background check. They're gonna do all the stuff, and then you'll be in. They're hiring right now, obviously.
Wow.
At a time of war, they need people.
Right.
And I was all about it. And then when I got home, when I got back to Lejeune, I finally transitioned. I went back home, and I got that taste of civilian life again. I was like,
Oh, you're kidding.
screw this.
Really?
I'm not carrying guns. I'm not doing it. I'm not fighting wars for anybody. I'm done. That's
Really?
it. I gave my country my 4.5
Yes.
years. That's all they're getting from me.
Wow. And you were so gung-ho when you were 18.
Well, this was when I
No,
was
this
in
was later,
Afghanistan,
but I
so
mean in
was
the very
22.
beginning. Right, but in the very
Yeah,
beginning.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. We all are.
Right.
You know, we're excited to go in. Excited to, you know,
But
be a
that was
part of the
nice. He
country.
kind of told you what it really was like, so you could
you know,
make a decision.
Sure. He just wanted to make sure that, you know, I knew exactly what I was going to be signing myself up for.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, because granted, you're the police force for the CIA, but they have needs abroad,
Everywhere,
everywhere,
right.
especially now with what's going on. Well, at the
Sure.
time with what was going on,
Right.
He's like, don't count on being stateside very much.
Wow.
He's like, a lot of times I'll get time to go home. I'll go home and I'll be sitting in my apartment by myself. You know, all my friends are off married, doing other things and stuff. I don't really lost touch with a lot of people. And then I'm sitting there bored and nothing to do, so I just request to go back because I make more money. And he goes, I'm not doing anything back home.
Wow.
He goes, the last time I was home, I think he said he was slated to be home for like a few months, and that only lasted a few weeks. He's like,
No
what am I doing
kidding.
here? Let me just go back to work.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
we are-
again, I was surrounded by that stuff, and that was the mentality that I
Yeah.
had.
Yeah.
But when I got home and I got a taste of civilian life again, and I got a taste of a normal life,
Yes.
that appealed to me a lot more than living like a nomad out of a backpack. And
Did you start the job at the company right away?
yeah, it took, and not right away. I got home in June
Of what year was that?
2002.
Two.
Yeah, I got home in June, like late June, and I didn't go in for a second interview until like September, and then they started me in October.
Okay.
So I had a few months.
Now,
And in those few months, I worked like a construction job. I worked at a place that sold car parts. Just,
so what did you do in the company? Was it recruiting?
which company?
The company that you went, the job you got in your dad's?
Oh no, I was a sales rep.
A sales rep?
I was a sales
Oh,
rep.
okay.
Yeah, I was an account manager, so I had different accounts. They were mainly wine and liquor shops,
Okay.
and yeah, so I was their account rep.
How many years were you there?
Did that for 13 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, so when you first came back from your service, how were you received by family and friends?
Oh, with open arms.
Yeah,
Everyone was
it
happy.
was
Yeah.
good?
Yeah, everyone was happy that I was home. All my friends. It was like I never left.
How did you get back? They flew you back? Is that-
No. What ended up happening was, when I got back from Afghanistan, they let me go home for a little bit.
Oh, so when you got from Afghanistan to the States, how do you come back?
Oh, we flew.
You flew?
Yeah, we flew back. Yeah, we flew
Okay.
back. We flew back, and then from Germany to, I believe it was like Delaware. It was an air base. I think it was like Andrews Air Force Base or something like that. We flew on a C-5 Galaxy, a big, huge cargo plane. And then I got to go home like a week or two later. And when I got home, I drove my car back to North Carolina because I still had a couple things.
Okay.
When my father had flown to or drove down to North Carolina, he drove down with my mother, and he took my car full of my stuff and drove it back. So they drove back separately.
Okay.
But when I came home, I flew home on a one-way ticket and then drove back
To get the
North-
rest of your stuff?
Oh, I had to go back and spend the last month or two,
Oh, I see.
to finish my outboarding process.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So then I drove back home.
Okay.
Yeah, from North Carolina.
So everybody was happy to see you.
Yeah.
And adjusting to civilian life, how was that?
I think I adjusted, I assimilated pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, so unlike a lot of the other guys who were in the Marines, I came home a lot because I had a girlfriend and I was like very homesick. So technically, you're only allowed to, on a regular weekend, you're only allowed to go a certain amount of miles away from the base.
Oh,
Just for whatever reasons, they just like to keep you close. And on a regular weekend, you can't go more than 300. New York was like 530 miles.
far.
I did it anyways.
did you really? They didn't know.
No, they had no
Oh,
idea.
but you got back in
Yeah,
time.
I got back. Yeah, I got back.
Okay.
It just, I would drive back. I would take the bus. I would fly sometimes. So I would come home like once a month.
Oh, that's nice.
But it only for a day or two.
Oh, Oh,
Because I would only come home, like sometimes on Fridays, they would let us go early because there'd be nothing to do.
okay.
So if they let us go by like 12, like noon or even before that, that gave me plenty of time to get in the car, drive home 10 hours.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
I would get home, I mean, when I was 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, I was young.
I guess.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, if I leave now, I'll be home by 10. I can still go out to the bar with my friends and hang out with my girlfriend. So then what would happen was I would hang out with my friends and family Friday night, spend all day Saturday and Saturday night, and then Sunday we'd leave at different hours to go back.
Okay.
I remember sometimes I'd leave, like, I'd be cutting it close. You'd have to be back by like 6 a.m. Monday morning. Like
wow.
6 o'clock at night. Sometimes at night,
You
drive all
left
night.
Sunday night? Oh, jeez.
I would try to leave earlier sometimes, but it's hard.
Yeah.
People don't want you to go.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got to go home.
But yeah, I got to go home a decent amount.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, I know for other people, a lot of my other fellow Marines, they wouldn't go home a lot for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They either lived too far, or they had nothing to go home to, or they just were maybe, a lot of them were escaping things from home, so they didn't want to go home
Right.
for whatever reason. So, but me, I still had while all my friends were in school, partying, doing all that stuff. Like, I didn't have that experience when
Yes,
in
right.
my late teens and early 20s. When like to go away to college, like I had mentioned earlier,
Right.
most of my friends went up to Albany. So they would come home on the weekends to hang out and
Right.
party, and I would meet them there sometimes.
That's
So
nice.
like, yeah, we had different experiences, but it wasn't like I was gone for 4.5 years and then came back home and everything was weird and
Yeah.
different.
Oh, good. So it wasn't.
Not for the most part. For the most part, it was an easy transition for
Yeah.
me because, like I said, I had been coming home.
Home, yeah.
A decent amount, yeah.
Have you remained in contact with your fellow veterans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily for me, Facebook is a great way to keep in contact with people, and also it was a great way for me to touch base with a lot of people that I had lost touch with.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Facebook like suggests friends and stuff like that, and I'd see the name, I'm like, oh my God, that's this guy from my unit, and
that's nice.
And we'd be able to reconnect.
Yeah.
And
That's nice.
reach out to people. And yeah, we've had a couple get-togethers and stuff
Have
like
you
that.
of your unit?
Yeah, people in my
That's
unit,
good.
mainly with ones that live relatively close by.
Right.
Like I had one buddy who was my old roommate. He became a state trooper, and he's from Camden, New Jersey.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and another one of my buddies, he became a truck driver, like driving 18-wheelers across the country. But he was also lived in New Jersey,
Not too far.
not too far. Yeah, but that's pretty
That's
much it.
good. Are you a member of any veterans organizations?
I was a member of the local VFW for a while in Queens, and I'd gone there a couple times, but it just wasn't my scene. A lot of the veterans that hang out there tend to be a little bit older.
Right.
And when I first got out, I was in my early 20s.
Sure.
And it's just
Different. Yeah.
just couldn't relate with them, like
Right.
on a social level. Obviously, we have a lot of common ground,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure a lot of guys that go to the VFW, there's always like a bar.
Yeah.
So they have cheap beer, and
Right.
they're watching football, and I'm not one of those guys that hang out in a bar and watch football. And
Right.
it's not me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you worked for the same firm as your dad for 13 years?
13 years, yeah.
And after that, how did you come to be opening your own
So,
gyms?
I had mentioned that I started taking martial arts, in particular Muay Thai, about a year after I got out of the Marines. So I was 23, 24, something like that, right? And that slowly but surely developed into a passion of mine. I really loved it. I loved practicing. I was competing for a while. I was fighting for a while. And then I fell into the business side of Muay Thai. One of my best friends and my current business partner and I started an event company, a promotion company that put together fight events.
Oh,
So it's very much like going to like a fight night, like a boxing fight night, but this style of martial arts, Thai boxing. And we created this company, and we would host events every 2 months, about 6 months a year. And we created a pretty decent following. We would sell out events, sell out arenas. Yeah,
nice.
we were the first and only, still to this day, the only promotion to do a Thai boxing event at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
Yeah, we've done at the Garden We have one coming up in exactly 1 month. This will be our 7th or 8th at the Garden, but we've done like close to 48 events in the past since 2009.
When did you start the
promotion?
Yeah.
2009.
Oh.
Yeah. And so we got into the business side of it, and I was still training. I became a trainer at the gym that I was at. And I remember my coach, my trainer, would go away sometimes. He was Muslim, so he would go away for they have something called Ramadan.
Oh, yeah.
In the summertime.
It's a big
where he
holiday.
doesn't like, he goes back to Morocco. So he would basically be like, okay, here are the keys, you got the gym, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean? Yeah, I'm going to Morocco for 3 months, I'll see you when I get back. I was like, whoa, I can't run this place, guy, you're fine, don't worry.
Wow, good experience.
So he threw me into the deep end, and thank God, because if it wasn't for him, trial by fire,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to run my own gym, which is basically what I do now. So I started the promotion, and we got really heavy into it. It got really busy at one point. And then, life happens and things, the partnership, the dynamic that we were in just wasn't working out. So we stopped for a little bit, and then we opened up a gym together in 2013. That was the first gym we opened in East Meadow, Rebel Thai Boxing. And from there, I was doing it part-time. I was working my full-time job, and then I would spend the evenings at the gym. So I'd work my 9 to 5, and then I'd teach from 6 to 9,
Wow.
and then work on Saturday as well, running the gym. Yeah. And just the gym started growing, and initially my intention was not to quit anything. I just wanted to see if I can handle all of it, but of course you can't. It's too much,
Right.
So the gym got to the point where it plateaued with our growth. So, we started to do a deep dive into the business, and, we started to find areas where we could improve on and things that we needed to do, but it required somebody to be there all the time to manage the place. We had employees, but an employee without a manager, without supervision, there's only so much that they can do. They can only grow the business so much.
Right.
It's up to the manager and the owner to take the step
Right.
to, go beyond the call of duty in order to, to be successful. So, again, I was working for 13 years. Right around year 11, or maybe my last year, I had already had it in my head, like, all right, I wasn't having fun at the job anymore. It was very stressful. Although I was making good money, I lost the passion for it. And I just didn't, like I said, my alarm clock would go off on Monday, and I was like, oh, God, 5 days of this hell.
Oh.
And I just really dreaded it. And I wanted to be happy, and just money was not making me happy. So we put together a plan. I had savings. I could have bought a house at the time, but I decided against it because having a house and still continuing that grind was not anything that I wanted. Again, I wanted to be a homeowner, obviously, but I decided to take the money that I had saved up. I had a decent amount, and instead of buying a house, I was gonna step off that ledge and go full time into entrepreneurship.
Wow.
So, it's hard for anyone to step out of their comfort zone when you have a steady paycheck, a good paycheck, insurance, and stability, and job security.
Sure.
But I was gonna leave all of that just to follow this crazy dream of being a head coach and running the gym full time. But even though it was long hours and I was already tired when I got there, I still enjoyed every second of being at the gym and training students and training beginners and building up fighters and helping people. We helped a lot of people in the community. We helped people lose weight. We helped kids get out of gangs. We helped, we helped kids that were getting bullied. We helped people achieve their goals and dreams. And that was so much more rewarding to me than a stupid paycheck. However many amount of zeros were at the end of it.
Right.
So, I made a plan, and I made a 6-month plan in order to sustain myself. And I cut out a lot of things out of my lifestyle in order to make this a success. And the amount of money that I was finally pulling in from the gym towards the end of that 6 months was not enough to sustain the lifestyle that I had. So then I got rid of my apartment. I went to Thailand for 3.5 months.
Wow.
The cost of living is much cheaper over there, just because every time we would go to Thailand, or I would go, it would just make me a better fighter, make me a better trainer.
So you took lessons over there?
Yeah, I would go there and train twice a day, live that nomad lifestyle. The Thai fighters there, they live at the gym. They're almost like racehorses. They're not like treated like people. It's different. It's a different way of life over there. And a gym will buy fighters. They'll own them. Technically, the rights for them to fight.
Right.
They have to live at the gym. They sleep there. They sleep in a big room, almost like military.
Yeah.
So I kind of like threw myself into that, just because I was stressed out and the gym wasn't making enough to support paying expensive rent in Queens and all the other things that go along with living in New York.
When was that? 2015?
No, this was the last time I went to Thailand, so 4 years ago. Yeah, 2015. 2015.
Okay.
Yeah, 2015. And I had already quit my job at that point. So I went. I could pay rent. Rent there was $300 a month.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. To stay at the gym and train and live there was another $300, and then food was like $7 a day.
Wow.
It was nothing.
Nice.
So I got to go. It was good for my business too, that I spent that much time there. I had gone before, but only for like a month, a little bit less than a month, a couple times. So then I came back, and I had to live in my dad's basement for 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. See, a lot of people. It's funny because like people say, "Oh, you're lucky. You're lucky." I'm not lucky. I created my own luck. And it's extremely
hardworking is what you are.
Sure. It's extremely difficult to make it in the United States as an entrepreneur. It's really hard to open up a small business here. The laws and the taxes, they're not in our favor. They favor obviously big corporate America, big companies. It's hard to make it. It really is. And a lot of people just see all the success, right? They don't recognize, or they don't really know all the hardships that most Americans have to go through who are trying to make it on their own.
Right.
They don't see that I had to trade in my brand new Audi. I had a really nice car. I had a nice apartment. I had to get rid of all that stuff.
Wow.
I had to cut out everything in order just to survive. And at 30-something years old, I had to move back into my dad's basement for a couple months, But
you worked hard.
luckily, I have a family that supported me. And now, fast forward 4 years, we have 2 locations.
Great.
At the first location, the original, we are maxed out.
Wow.
We cannot fit any more people in it. Any more people on the floors, on the mats. We're stuck at the amount of students that we have because of the space that we have.
Wow.
So now my partner and I, we are considering buying a building just because our business is doing so well. We're also looking to opening up a 3rd location,
really?
And the 2nd location is already profitable too. So we're doing really well. And
congratulations, that's amazing.
I have 14 people who work for us.
Wow.
And I'm able to provide jobs and a lot of the same when I was coming up. I see that in them. Their passion is martial arts. Their passion is to do what we're doing right now, and I'm able to provide that for them and pay them a salary to do it.
Wonderful.
And now because of all this, because I don't need to be at the gym. Look,
I'm so excited.
The gym has been open since 7 a.m.
I'm so grateful.
And I have not been there. And now because of all this, my fiance and I were able to create Books for Veterans, which idle hands. I can't sit still.
Amazing.
I can't just
Marine
sit
in
home
you.
and do nothing, right? So because of that, because of my gym's doing so well, and it freed up a lot of my time. That's why we're able to create another business where we're able to help a lot of our military. Yeah.
Wow. I love hearing about that story. It's amazing. Eddie, how do you think your wartime experiences affected your life?
I think it's affected me in a positive way. I'm sure everyone's experience is different. I run into I have a lot of combat veterans, mainly a lot of Marines at my gym. 2 of them are part of our fight team. They actually just competed in the tournament last week,
Nice.
2 weeks ago. And I'm not going to mention their names, but they both suffer from PTSD for sure, and it affected them a lot harder.
You didn't know them when you were in, right? Okay.
Well, by the time I got out, they were going in as I was getting out. But yeah, it affects people in a different way. I mean, luckily for them and myself, we're able to use that experience and become positive members of our society. And try to give back and do the right thing. I don't necessarily know if going to war did that, but I think just in general, my overall experience in the Marines definitely made me a better person for sure, and it prepared me for going to war twice.
Right. What are some life lessons you learned from the military? In
the Marine Corps, we have one of the things they make you memorize, and if if there was any senior Marines in here, I'd probably get in trouble. But you have to memorize 14 leadership traits. I don't remember all 14 of them, but it's definitely a few of them definitely resonate with me, like seeking self-improvement, being tact, and a lot of different things like that. Like they just, you walk around with a different set of eyes, and you see things differently than I guess normal civilians would, and
it's a good thing.
yeah, absolutely. And everything that I'm saying is all the positive stuff,
Yep.
And it just overall made me a better person. Like I was 100% a knucklehead. I had no direction. I had no idea what I wanted to be or where I wanted to go in life. And because of the Marine Corps and because, of my time serving my country, it definitely laid out the path. Although the path wasn't, defined, it wasn't set in stone, but it still has been generally leading towards one direction, which is, be a good person, do the right thing, and be there for your family and your friends. That's really, really what I've taken away from it.
That's wonderful.
To be totally honest.
How do you think your military service impacted your feelings about war and the military in general?
I think that's a tough one. So, a lot of different things have happened in the world since I've been out of the Marines, and I don't feel one way or the other when it comes to wartime or conflicts or politics. That's one thing that I don't generally get myself involved in. If we're in a group, if we're in a social setting, and there's a political talk, I slowly back away because a lot of people are pro-Trump, against Trump, pro-Bush, against Bush. Can I be frank? I don't care.
Yeah.
I really don't. And I know I should. I know I definitely should, because it affects all of us, right? But I find that I get too emotionally invested, and I don't like to talk about those things with emotion. I think it's better to be logical, and if you're going to have a conversation about politics and about current events and things that are happening in the world, that you need to kind of leave your personal feelings away from it. But again, this is just the way I feel, I don't care to get into arguments with people over politics, over what Trump's doing or what he's not doing. It sure, it affects me, but as a citizen, as an American citizen, I'm just gonna play with the hand that was dealt to me. And I don't think that sitting here and ranting and bitching and complaining and feeling one way or another towards whoever's leading the country or whoever's making the decisions that they're making is gonna make my life any better. And I don't like dwelling on negative stuff. If something bad is happening, we'll work our way around it.
That's good attitude.
So again, I know not everybody feels that way because most people who are in the military are very much invested in politics and they want to know what's going on. And like I see stuff happening, I'm like, ugh. I just
keep on going doing what you do.
Because a lot, one of the things that was instilled in us in the Marines is like, don't ask questions, just do what you're told. There's better, smarter people in charge who know what's going on, so stop questioning everything and just follow the mission, follow the game plan. And I'm very much like that. Listen, Trump's in charge, there's a reason why. I don't necessarily agree with everything that he's doing or disagree with what he's doing. I kind of just roll with the punches and just do what we have to do.
Yep. What message would you like to leave for future generations that might hear this interview?
So if anyone's watching this and they're debating mainly whether if they should join the military or not, that's really who I want to speak to. If you're lost, if you don't have any idea what you want to do or where you want to go, if your parents are telling you to do one thing but your heart and your mind is telling you to do something else, if you're wondering if it's a good idea for someone in my position or in a similar position to do, I say absolutely go for it. I say absolutely do it. Not because you want to go and you want to fight and you want to kill people or you want to defend your country or whatever. There could be a ton of different reasons, but I think that if you're unsure of what route you want to take in life or what you want to be, and you're looking for an adventure and you're looking for something that will make you a better person, I think the military will 100% be able to help you. Again, everybody has different reasons why they're even thinking about it, but if it wasn't for the Marine Corps, I would not be where I am today.
Really?
100%. I know that. Like I know my name, like I know where I live, like I know who I am, for sure. I would not be a martial artist. I would not be an entrepreneur. I would not be standing here with you right now.
Wow.
If it wasn't for the Marines. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful for the Marine Corps and the things that they instilled in me, and the time that my recruiter and the people who were above me and in charge of me, all the time that they put into me, because it literally, I would not be the person who I am today. Like I'd like to think I'm responsible. I'd like to think I'm a good person, and I'd like to think that I'm impacting the people around me in my community in a positive way. And that's not necessarily the mindset that I had prior to going into the military. So.
Well, we're glad you did. Wow.
I'm glad I did too.
But I'm sure you would have been just a wonderful person as you
We'll
are.
see. I don't think so. Probably not so much.
But thank you for all you did for us. I mean, unbelievable. Your
My
story
pleasure.
is terrific. Anything we haven't discussed or you'd like to add? You think we covered just about?
No, that's it.
Yeah. Thank you, Eddie. You're an amazing person.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.